Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Toby Eunice of A Gypsy's Kiss. Stick with us for a couple of seconds and we'll introduce you to that gentleman right below my image. His name is Ryan Chapelier, and he goes by Axarbin on YouTube. All right, and we're back. So I'm going to I'm going to tell you who's on tonight's panel, and then I'm going to have them introduce ourselves. So on tonight's panel, in the your left-hand corner is Pan Shopman. Below her is Rick McDonald. Our guest, Ryan Chapelier, is in the middle below me. Then Shelley Carney from A Gypsy's Kiss, who's our producer tonight and will be handling the chat room. And then I've invited my son and search partner Jason Eunice to join us on the panel. So what I'm going to do first is have each one of the panelists introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their internet properties and what they think of this search. Pam, let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Pam Shotman, and I'm from Ramblin' Pam on YouTube.
And Rick?
Hi, I'm Rick McDonald. You know me by my username, Illinois Ghost. I run a blog. It's Ghost Adventures. You can find it at illinoisghost.wordpress.com. You can also find my YouTube channel by searching Illinois Ghost also.
And Rick, I want to come back to this after we make introductions, but you added a new page to your blog, to your WordPress property?
Yes, I did today, yeah. It's a new page. It's going to be called What's the Word by Forrest.
Oh, well, let's come back to that in just a minute. I want to introduce everybody else first. Shelley?
Hi, I'm Shelley Carney with the Gypsy's Kiss, and also have my own channel called The Softer Side. And I just put the link up there in the chat if you're interested. This week's episode, we'll be talking about sentient dating techniques.
Nice. Kind of like sentient selling techniques? Is that where that comes
Exactly.
from? Oh, very interesting. Jason Michael?
Hi, I'm Jason Eunice. I'm Toby's son. I have had boots on the ground, but I'd say my interest has been lighter than his. He's definitely gotten in depth. I'm a metalsmith by trade, and my website is newmexicotinwork.com.
Thanks, Jason. And last but not least, our guest tonight, Ryan Chapelier. His YouTube channel is Axarbin on YouTube, Nebraska, as he informed Shelley and I when he was in our chat room once, and I couldn't figure out what Axarbin was, and he informed us it was Nebraska spelled backwards. So, Ryan, introduce yourself. Tell the folks about your internet properties. And I noticed that as of now, you've got 17 videos up on your YouTube channel. 13 of them are vlogs related to the Fenn Treasure. So, introduce yourself. Tell us about your YouTube channel and where you plan to take your YouTube channel.
Okay. Oh, well, my name's Ryan Chapelier. My channel is called Axarbin. If you're from Omaha, Nebraska, Axarbin name's pretty popular. It used to be an old horse racing track around here. There's Knights of Axarbin. Different companies have called them that. So, but ever since as a kid, I was always kind of fond of that. Just it's that anagram, that the messing the word up part. So I thought that real nice with the treasure hunts, with the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt or the other treasure hunts that have been out there. Anyways, my YouTube channel, I know there's been a lot of channels, and they've done a great job of giving different ideas or thoughts on where they've been, or their clues, or their definition of clues. My original intention was kind of to take some of the different books that Forrest has written, co-authored, had some influence on, and share that with the public. And I've come across a lot of discrepancies, and I guess that goes back to that embellishment that Forrest brags about.
Yeah.
I think he just kind of likes to take that level and just kind of kick it up a couple notches and makes it a little bit more interesting. So I think that's pretty interesting to see that. It really helps you relate to the guy, to see what kind of personality he has. And so I've really enjoyed that. I know I got about 3 emails from Forrest over the time, and 2 of those was because I quoted some random author or person that's ran into his life that I don't think anybody's blogged about. And I think it was one of those kind of like got his attention. He looked into his emails, but nothing was pertinent back. It was like, good for you.
Yeah.
But anyways, but yeah, so that's kind of been my goal from my channel, has been just kind of share the little forest tidbits that I find when I come across these books. So
Very, very nice.
yeah.
Jason, the chat room is having a hard time listening to you. And
How does that sound for you guys?
you know what? Sit back, but bring your microphone with you. I'm okay with your microphone in the shot because I know with that microphone that you. Let's see if we got it.
Check 1 2.
I think that's better. Yeah, that's much better. So let's do that. And now I'm picking up some heavy breathing. Basically, I don't know what that is.
I'm holding my breath.
Okay. All right.
Check 1 2. Did that kill that breathing?
Yeah, that's better. That's,
Yeah, I had a fan on, and then when I put the mic back, it brought it into the
Oh, okay. All right.
glowy here. But
Must be hot down there, huh?
Yeah, it's been pretty warm here in Albuquerque. So
Yeah.
just make sure you're leaning into that microphone when you're talking, Jace. Okay. So Ryan, we know that you have a YouTube channel. We know that you're interested in the search. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your search? How you got into it, how you got into looking for the Fenn Treasure, and how many times you've been boots on the ground, and whether or not you have search partners or a search team.
Okay. Yeah. I've been into this thing for 4 years, I'm gonna say. Been kind of quiet in the backgrounds. I haven't really joined the search chat rooms. I know I've joined a couple of the Facebook pages, and just been kind of been that guy in the background reading comments that people post, and have been really more of an observer on that end. For me, for the search part, I've been out. I know, like last year, I probably went out about 10 times. It's kind of easy for me being here in Omaha. It's just a state away for me to get to Colorado or to Wyoming to get out there and search. So there's not a lot of expense for me there. I own my own construction company, so it's easy to get away from work as well that way. And then for me, for my search partners, I'm doing what Forrest says. I bring my boys out with me.
Oh, great! Wow.
Yeah. My oldest, he's been out with me. This will be his third year searching with me. He started when he was in first grade. His name's Lucas, and he just turned 9, so he's all on cloud 9 right now with his birthday. So, he loves going out in the mountains, and I remember the first time we were out there, and I tell you, I thought I was just spot on with this clues. I knew exactly where we were going to go. I had no doubt in my mind where I was going to go for this treasure. And I was in out by Matitsi in the Kerwin area, on the Wood River. And I know a lot of people went out there for the Matitsi area. They've gone out there for Amelia Earhart, the Double D Ranch. But we went up the Canyon Creek, which it feeds into the Wood River. And up that way, there's a gold mine up there. And on this gold mine, there is the overflow of, I guess, the loads and stuff. Actually, guys, my search team wants to say hi. So,
all right, well, let's say hi.
Hey, come on,
this
guys.
is Lucas. He's my oldest. He just turned 9. He's the one that's been out with me. This will be his 3rd year. And then this little guy right here, this is Landon, and he is going to go out for his first hunt after school gets out in May.
Right.
So he's super excited for his first search out there.
So
Hi.
while we have you guys on YouTube, where exactly is your daddy searching?
He asked me, where's Daddy searching?
Don't do that.
You can tell him.
No, that's
Where's that at?
Wyoming.
God's country, right?
Yeah, and not much of a trip.
This kid right here, part of his soul's stuck in Wyoming in those mountains.
Oh,
Every time we leave, he kind of looks a little depressed. I'm like, did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Did you have fun? Aren't you glad to go home, see your mom and your friends? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I just can't wait to get back out here.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
state.
Oh yeah, I think for the rest of his life he'll go out there.
So, what are you two guys, you two boys, going to do with the treasure, with all that money and gold when you find it?
What are you guys gonna do with all that treasure and gold when you find that treasure, huh?
Like a rich?
Yeah, that would make you
Dump
pretty
it on
rich.
the floor and roll around in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, let me get to the
All
other
right, guys.
panel members so we can get some questions. Thanks, guys. It's a pleasure
Yeah.
meeting you. It was a lot of fun. So let me get before we start our questioning, I want to go back to something that Rick said. Rick mentioned that he's got a new page and that he's I don't want to say convinced, but apparently Forrest has offered to make contributions to his page. But I've also noticed that you've had some other communications with him, and he's had communications recently with several other people. I mean, including, of course, Jenny Kyle, but he's had communications with K-Pro and a couple of other people in the forums. At least I assume that they're not just claiming that to make messes, but that he's actually... So, Rick, you've been around long enough and you've had enough communications with Forrest. What do you attribute all this activity to?
Well, I think it's kind of like it's going back to the beginning, kind of. He's got a lot of new searchers out with all the publicity that's been happening, like the articles on YouTube and the other new ones that were out. You know, I think he's just trying to get new searchers involved, like, you know, kind of like how we all got in it at the beginning when he was real active in it.
Well, I just noticed there seems to be just a lot of activity. All right, let's go back to interviewing Ryan and Pam. Let's start with you. What you have any questions for Ryan?
Oh, yes. I was going to ask him about, he was talking about the Thrill of the Chase book being needed on his blog. Do you still feel that way, that you need that to get to know Forrest?
Yeah, you know, well, I think you know, you go through that book and read it so many times. I mean, I start looking at this book and I'm like, I'm waiting for these pages to fall out. So, but you know, when that front dust jacket leaflet right there, when he sits there and says, in these pages, you know, you uncover this treasure, and then he says it again towards the back. Toby has a wonderful video of the Moby Dixon bookstore. I can tell you, I sit there and I'll stream that over my Bluetooth in my truck when I'm driving. I mean, I can't tell you how hundreds of times I've listened to that, trying to hear maybe just some little slip up or, you know, something that I've never heard before. And, you know, he said, read that poem, go back, get that book and read that book. And then, you know, or read the book, poem, back to the book and look for, you know, hints and clues that could pop out at you. And I don't think it's something that's going to be a direct saying, hey, it's in Montana or it's in Colorado or it's in the Rio Grande, which it's not. So, but I think it's something that's going to kind of direct you to his way of thinking, or it's kind of like a multi-level kind of defined clue, you know, to get to that answer. Here's one that I just came up with, and I was kind of reluctant to think about sharing it, but I will now.
We don't have that many people watching, so
okay,
it's okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
Okay. All right. Well, this is something, and I, you know, like I always say to myself, I'm like, I'll agree with myself in 6 months to a year, but who knows? That's just kind of the nature of the beast. It's the line that Forrest is talking about his dad saying, "Oh, would you rather trust the guy who's been wrenching on cars for 4 years to work on your vehicle, or a guy who just got out of 4 years of college?" And then he goes on down and says, "Sometimes it's wise for the fox to dress like the hound." And it's like, what does that mean?
Aberrations. We call them aberrations when they stick out like a sore thumb, and you end up asking yourself, why is that there? Why did he put that there?
But I think this is right now, today, the past couple weeks since I come across this, I came across this news article about people having fox as pets instead of a dog. So you go, I mean, like in Nebraska, it doesn't matter. You can have whatever you want here. But if you look up the 4 states that are a search area, the only state that you can have a fox as a pet currently is Wyoming. So sometimes it's wise for the fox to dress like a hound. what does a hound do? He's your pet. He's your, companion in your house. So maybe that's what he was hinting at. Because if you read about the New Mexico area, they talk about fox and other exotic animals, including alligator, which, he did have an alligator
Right.
in his Fenn gallery. So, that could just be a coincidence. But when I read that, for me being in Wyoming, I was like, oh yeah, I'm right on, man. This is in Wyoming.
Confirmation bias. That's good. That's good. We
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Let me get to Rick. What have you got for Ryan, Rick?
Oh, actually, Ryan, I was watching a lot of your videos. I was pretty impressed with the type of research that you've done on, some of the stuff like Forrest's business partners and, the
Yeah.
things you've dug up. Do you feel that you're getting anywhere by going down that road, going back through the past like that?
I haven't really got a good correlation of helping me decipher clues or figure out hints from that. I feel like I've really got to know Forrest more as an individual and his past life. I mean, I'll sit there and I'll just kind of dwell on it. I don't meditate or anything, but just thoughts that go through your head late at night or just when you have that downtime when you're driving. And I sit there and think about kind of embellishing making things bigger than they are. I'm like, gosh, I did that when I was a kid, oh man, yeah, I went off and I did this and, we had drove a Lamborghini and we did went on a yacht and, it might've been a T-Toc Camaro or something. And we went on a little rowboat, but it's, he has fun with it. And I think what he talks about in his memoir, if you can't see a little bit of, your life in his, in his mirror and his memoir, you should have another shot at it, And I think it's just about all having fun and games. The one thing I gotta say that Forrest, I'm really surprised by how many people that's been in and out of his life that have gotten cancer and passed away from it. So I wonder how deep that really is into him. Because he did, he went through the Vietnam War. He got shot down. He never died in action when he had bunkmate that did, or he had cancer and he overcame it. But he's had so many people that's been in his life that passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Flywater. You look at the artist. That book I did the blog about. That he got cancer and he passed away.
Fashion. Was it Fashion?
No. Well, it might have been. I'm trying to think. It's the. I'm sorry, I got so many books up there.
It's okay, no worries.
And I did the blog on it. That guy who wrote that book, he passed away. And I mean,
James Parsons?
Yeah, that's right. That's it. Yep, that's correct.
Way to go, Pam.
Yeah.
You really did. You pointed out a lot of discrepancies that I hadn't heard before. Also, like in some of his financial background and stuff too.
Yeah. No, I never really thought about him having a gallery and a foundry in Lubbock, Texas, before he even came to Santa Fe.
Yeah.
And then
I never even heard of the Rex Aerosmith at all. And then I tried looking him up. I couldn't find anything.
Actually, what was interesting about Rex Aerosmith is as Shelley and I were working on the timeline, she found that. I didn't ask her where, but she found that before, and I had already been in the search several years. Jason, let's go over to you. What's your question for Ryan?
Well, first off, I want to compliment you on what you've done so far with your vlogs. I like the mix that you have. I think it's really unique to bring in some of the other points that you bring, especially talking about kind of awareness of being out in the field, boiling it down to even just, a Boy Scout manual, and everything it teaches in there is handy in the woods. And then even the side stuff, like talking about the depression glass and everything, I always had thought it was uranium glass. And when you start talking about Vaseline and all this, I was like, wow, who knew there were so many uses for Vaseline, So,
wait a minute, it's not that type of channel.
Yeah, no. I'm not even going there. But it's funny because I feel like you kind of are on both feet in different hoops, because there's part of it that it seems like you're very purist in about the poem and the book, but then there's a part where you're really open to where there might be other clues and hints out in other places, and where you've dug up this background information. Another thing I'd mention is posting the audio that you found from the Library of Congress. That was cool. I hadn't seen that, and just to hear it in its pure form.
Yeah.
Honestly, even if it didn't connect to the chase that much, to hear him speaking in his own words and describing such an incredible point of time in his life. We've been talking today about what gets into the Library of Congress and what doesn't, and you could see why that got in.
Oh yeah.
It really
It,
captured that moment.
go on there and look up the letters. There's letters, handwritten letters too.
Okay.
And you can go in there and read all those different letters, and he taught. I mean, his passion is Indian artifacts. It's about the Native
Yeah.
Americans. I mean, wow, the guy, he's in a foreign war fighting the Vietnamese, flying missions every day, and he just nonstops talking about, I can't wait till I get back to go back out in the fields and these creek
Sure.
bottoms and go look for these arrowheads. I mean, it's
Sure.
amazing. It's
Mhm.
absolutely
So
amazing.
it was mixed in there, but I guess my question would be, if you had to put weight on it, what would you put weight on as far as these outside ideas and catching these hints and tricks off of interviews, or really just sticking to the poem in the book?
Well, I think, like he said, his poem's straightforward. I don't mess with his poem. I don't look for anagrams or, I've seen people dissect the poem and said, try the wheel and all these different scenarios. Is really creative. But I think he's pretty straightforward on that. But I think there is a big correlation between the book and that, how to solve it. Like, one thing I've stuck with for probably about a year now is like uh, the cold. He talks about with those kids in the rope chapter about how the cold statue, even, it's a warm room, it's a cold statue, is a bronze statue. So your effort will be worth the cold, your effort will be worth the treasure chest.
Right.
At the end he said, you be brave, if you're brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold. Anyways, the wood, I've always thought like in the his Too Far to Walk book, how the typewriter in there is called the Underwood brand typewriter. Maybe that's what it means. It's not so much the Wood River, or maybe it's Cottonwood, Underwood, something with that wood inside that name. And I've kind of migrated more to something that could be a definition of that. So like, say you say the Elm Creek. Well, elm is a type of wood, maybe, trying to, sometimes you really, you start getting your solutions and you're in areas and you're looking and you're trying to make that square peg fit through that hole.
Sure. I think
Um,
any of us who's been boots on the ground has had probably over and over again those moments where you start realizing I'm making this area fit the clues, and
yeah.
I'm finding those answers. But the truth is, you're not coming in clean with your original idea. You're saying, okay, that didn't work out, but what does work?
Yeah.
And then that's how you end up chucking your son in a river.
Yeah. Well, the one big reason I like, well,
He's not referring
besides,
to your
yeah.
son. He's
No, I know. I always tell them, like, hey guys, just remember, I can outrun you.
Yeah.
In the
There you
forest.
go. Nice.
So let me, before you answer that, let me go over to Shelley. She's got a hand raised.
Okay.
That means we have a question for the room.
you
what,
bet.
what do we got, Shell?
All right. First off, I'd like to say hello and thank you to all of our new subscribers. We have several new subscribers. And just so everybody's aware, we hit the 2,200 mark this week. So thank you for that. We have our moderators this evening who are in the room are Man in the Barn and Jimmy Faster here. And we have searchers here from Virginia, Nevada, Missouri, New England, Ohio, and New Mexico.
Wow.
Our first question this evening is from Michael Bruno, and it's for Ryan. Have you been to Red Canyon, and what do you think of that?
No, I haven't been to Red Canyon. I'll tell you a couple places I've been. Obviously the Kerwin area on the Wood River. If you haven't been there and you're not going to go there for the chest, you should go there just to see the scenery. It is absolutely amazing. It's probably the prettiest area I've ever been to. And I've been up to Cook City on the Woody Creek. Oh man, I had a heart-stopping moment there. Been up and down Wyoming through Du Bois, down to through the Laramie Mountain Range, Medicine Bow out by Baggs, Wyoming. Down in New Mexico, I've been down hiking through New Mexico a couple times earlier.
Have let me ask: have either Rick? Well, I know we haven't been to Red Canyon. Rick or Pam, have you guys been to Red Canyon at all?
No, I
No.
haven't. No.
That sounds like some fresh ground there for one of our chat members. Shelley, did you say you had another question?
I do. We have one from Dagmar Did It, and she wants to know from Ryan. First, she says, "Does Ryan always take his kids? That's adorable. And when are you going back?"
Majority of the times I do. I just came back from my hot spot right now, which I won't talk about, with my wife. We kids have so many breaks now, and my in-laws. I gotta say thank you to them. Took them for the whole week. So,
Wow.
my wife and I were like, "What are we gonna do?" And I'm like, "We're getting in the truck. We're going to Wyoming." So we head out and we went hiking in that area. But no, for the most part, yeah, I take my boy. My oldest has been my search partner for the most part. Now my youngest, he's old enough to get out to the mountains and hike. And my besides getting them off the couch and getting them out in the nature and get familiarized with the world, know that there's more than just their little cocoon. Is Also, if we're out hiking and they're having difficulty hiking somewhere, if it's too challenging for them, I know I'm in the wrong spot. I know if they can't do it, a 79 or 80-year-old man, even though Forrest is pretty fit for that age, I know that's where I need to stop and rethink, where I'm at, what we're doing. So,
Yeah, Shelley and I actually use the same rule. If I can't make it, we go like, "Oh no, he couldn't have possibly done this."
oh yeah,
Let's go back to
Yeah.
Pam. Pam, did you have another question for Ryan?
I was just curious, you talked about bear spray on one of your
Yeah.
vlogs.
Mhm.
Have you ever encountered a bear and have you ever had to use your bear spray?
No, I haven't yet. That's the first thing I carry, and Wyoming is a good old boy. They're pretty similar to like around here where I'm from. I grew up around guns and everything, and they always give me a hard time. Like I'm walking through the Walmart, get my son a new pair of jeans because he snagged and ripped them, and I'm sitting there talking to somebody, and I wasn't calling Matiti right. I was calling Mateasi or I don't know. And so, they correct you, just like the Popo Aggie.
Yeah, don't use Popo Aggie.
Yeah,
it is not Popo Aggie.
yeah. But anyways, I'm in there and they're like, "Hey, you got, like, oh yeah, I got our bear spray. We're being safe out there." And they're like, "Well, I don't care about the bear spray. You got your gun?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." It's like, "Where's it at?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, it's in my truck."
Yeah,
They're like, "Why isn't it on you?" So he lifts his shirt up and he's
They're all
got
carrying, yeah.
a Magnum. Next guy walks by, he's like, "Yeah, here's mine."
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll give you a hard time for not having your gun on you.
That's why there's Wyoming, the home of the cowboys. Rick, have you ever had to use your bear spray?
Actually, I've never even bought bear spray. I
No.
don't carry it with
Oh,
me.
because-
I used to carry a 45 or a 9mm
Yeah.
on a hike.
Yeah,
I don't think I need it, so I don't even take it no more.
been out enough. Yeah, we've got bear spray. We've had cans. We've never actually had to use them for any reason. So
When mine expires, I plan on doing a video and spraying it, see how far it goes.
see how
But,
far it goes. Yeah,
yeah, it's too expensive just to dump it.
yeah, nice. Rick, more questions for Ryan?
Oh, actually, I was kind of wondering what, as far as the poem, what do you think the toughest part of that poem is?
Wow. For me, I think the Homer Brown has been until I had an aha moment, and it's pretty clever, and I wouldn't have got it if it wasn't for the book. But I think prior to that was trying to figure out where to start. Was it begin where warm waters halt? For the while, I was the one that tried to go against the grain. Like if everybody's doing this and no one's figuring it out, maybe that's wrong. So I always thought the hint of rich is new and old was something. And so I really, for the first couple years of hunting, I really kind of tried to base out that rich is new and old. And looking back now, I think I was way off a base. I was kind of figuring out what rich is new and old was to me, and not what it would be to the poem author, who is Forrest. Because for me, I'm thinking, oh yeah, Kerwin. We got a old gold town area, and there's still, they're talking about Amex owning one of those mountains out there, wanting to get copper out of it. tourist spot, so it's kind of like enriches that way,
Yep.
And so yeah, I mean, I think just like the whole entire search group has evolved over the years. Like when I first started, man, everybody's brown trout, and I fell into that trap right away. But then you start looking at it and you're like, good grief, that's everywhere. you know, I mean, I could tell you a lake right here in town they stock brown trout.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think Homer Brown has been elusive one, just because that capital B, and it's something that's got to last. Something that's, I don't think it could be a house, somebody's possession, because people buy houses and cabins all the time. So, I think it was something, and I don't really want to get into it. So
That's all right. No worries. Let me go back to Jason for another question, please. Did you hear me? Okay, Jason.
Yeah, I did. The next thing I was going to ask just relates to where you think you want to grow your channel. I know that so far your vlogs have been relatively short. You pop in, you can tell you kind of have an idea that you feel like is share worthy and everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, I like everything that's coming out so far and everything, but where do you think you want to go with it?
Well, I know I haven't really wanted to make it into a career or side item or anything like that. I just want, I like the idea, and I like how fun it's been watching Toby's channel and videos, Mike's videos, and I just wanted to do a little bit of my own contribution to it, but kind of be unique at the same time. And I guess I don't really know what kind of future I could do. It's just kind of giving my 2 cents. And if people like it, great. If they don't, well, everybody's got their own opinion, and that criticism is always wonderful to read it into, and then also you kind of get the off the wall stuff too. So
I think what we would recommend to anyone who's thinking about starting a YouTube channel is don't at first worry about the technology. What's more important is the value of the content that you're providing. So the more interesting the content, the more original the content, the more unique and different the content, the more likely it is that you're going to attract subscribers, and then you can start worrying about the technology. I mean, it took us a year to get to the point where we had a YouTube channel that we could incorporate a Zoom panel and stream it through open broadcasting software. But we started kind of the same way, where it was just us looking at a camera and talking about topics and trying different topics out. We would present a topic and see how people viewed it, what kind of comments we got, whether we got thumbs up or thumbs down, and then we'd base that. We'd say, okay, that's a good topic, or they don't want to hear us talk about that, and so that's how the channel evolved. So, but the most important thing is get in front of that camera, get your audio right, and start creating some new and unique content. What I'd like to say is original content, original thinking. Shelley, you got a question from the chat room?
I have a super chat.
Oh, how nice.
John Bobbitt has a question. And let me go back up to make sure I get the right wording.
Okay.
And it was up here at the top. And it's for Ryan. And he wants to know, Ryan, have you looked around Brown Mountain, Wyoming, to put in below the home of Brown?
The Brown Mountain in the Wood River area, I'm taking it, by Kerwin. That's the only thing I could really assume, Brown Mountain. So yeah. I mean, I was dead set on this. I tell you, when I looked on this thing and I was looking at this map, I'm thinking like in the canyon, like in the wood, like if you're in the Missouri River, or I'm in this lake, So when I saw the Canyon River, I was like, oh, it's got to be there, And this is one of my first hunts. And I was going up and down thinking, where would that blaze be? And then it said something about, at the end of my rainbow, you'll find, my treasure. And there's those tail ends from that mine right there. And it had this blue and red and yellow kind of, it looks, I mean, you look on Google Maps. I love to show you guys a link. it looks like a rainbow, you know. And when we went out there, we saw the magpie fly in front of us, and we got up there right to that spot, and these two tomcats went flying right over us, and we barely heard them until the afterburners came by, just like when he was talking about in Vietnam with the funeral procession going on. I mean, it's so surreal. And then we got right there to that bottom of that rainbow of rocks. There was this corrugated metal arch with the stone stacked in front of it. Oh man, my heart about sunk. I started tearing all that rock away from that corrugated metal right there. Yeah, I'm thinking, no way, this, I can't believe, first hunt out, we found this thing. And we didn't find it, and there was still snow out there, so we actually we went into Cody, Wyoming, to the Walmart, got a shovel, and went back the next day and shoveled snow on a mountain.
Nice.
So, but you know, the one thing that was really cool is my kid, when we're out there, and he's like, Dad, you know, I know you're disappointed we didn't find the treasure, but being out here with you on this treasure hunt's been treasure enough to me. You know?
that-
So oh man,
That makes it, that makes it
cool.
worthwhile.
oh yeah.
So, Shelley, I'm about to move over to the topic of the evening, hints and clues, but I know you've got another super chat.
Yes, we do.
Very nice.
This one's from Chris Johnson, and he just wants to say thanks to everyone for sharing your time and thoughts with the search community. Always well done and thought-provoking.
Thank you, Chris. That's a very
Yeah,
nice thing to
thank
say.
you.
We appreciate it. So let's move on for just a bit. We've got, I know we do have some other questions, Shelley, and I'll come back to you to get those from the chat room. But let's move on to what we want to talk about tonight in terms of the topic, and that is hints and clues, what they are, how you define them as you go, you know, as you do your research, starting with a book and the poem, and then the whatever additional research you do. And then not only what are the differences, but how many are there? Where are they found for you? Pam, let's start with you.
For me, the hints that I've been coming across were mostly, I think, in the thrill of the chase. I found things that there were things in there that just stood out. I think we touched on it earlier. One of the things I had looked at was the topic that the story he told about Gardner and Island and Captain Kidd.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was like kind of random in that it didn't fit anywhere right there. So, you know, I tore that apart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
Yeah.
looked at that a lot. So that's things that stand out that seem to be just put in there in the book that you're like, where did this come from? You know, where is this going?
Where do you think not the hints, but where are the clues, and how many are there?
In the poem,
Okay.
the clues?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're comfortable
think-
that there's 9 clues in the poem, nothing else in the other memoirs, something like that.
No, I don't think so. For me, it's pretty much sticking with the poem.
Yeah.
The clues.
Rick, I know you've done some work in this area. What do you think?
Well, basically, I think I stick with the thrill of the chase much anymore. Really, I kind of think like I look at it as every line in the poem is used, and I look at that as hints pointing to the clues is the way I look at that. So when I read the poem, I'm actually following that to what I believe are the clues.
Very nice. Jason, hints and clues. What are they? Differentiation? How many? What do you think?
Well, I definitely would describe myself as a purist regarding the poem and the book, just as he explained it. And part of that is by intent. I feel like because, you know, the other members of our team have gone so in depth in some of these, you know, I mean, let's face it, it makes for a great show, but some of your conclusions and ideas are pretty far reaching, you know, when you're talking about Paleolithic era, you know, the end of ancient oceans and things like that.
Hey! Just be careful with it.
Nothing against it. You know, I still want my Five Guys on Friday, but but I think there's something to be said for doing it exactly as I said, staying pure to the poem. In my mind, the difference between a hint and a clue is a hint is kind of more of a real-time tactical thing. So, you know, the old game of warm or colder. To me, that's more what a hint is. A clue is more like what we find in the poem, where it's something where the clue itself is actually something you need to work out and figure out and work on. So, my quick answer would be I believe it's the 9 clues. I believe they are in the poem, and that I'm not a big fan of chasing after hints. I'm not against digesting them, but what I find is it kind of draws me away. You know, you hear that newest, latest thing, and you track it down and you try to decide how it affects you and your solve. And sometimes you're just kind of, running on the wheel,
Yeah.
and you're kind of better off sticking to your solution and working that angle as it exists. I think it's really interesting that we're together as a community, because the truth is no one of us has the resources to follow up all these ideas that we could. There, I mean, it's the Rocky Mountain National, it goes on. So it's kind of beautiful. We almost get an opportunity to live vicariously through each other. When I hear you guys talk about Wyoming and stuff, we're here in New Mexico. It's what makes sense. I've got kids. Dad's got grandkids. The reality is, it's not just that a lot of things work in our solve for New Mexico. It's that it makes rational sense on what we have time for, on what we have money for. Um, but I certainly don't rule out anyone's solve, and I don't hold it against anyone who goes after those hints.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. That extra stuff, that's what I see.
I do have to say, Pam, that when I saw that line about Captain Kidd and Gardner Island, up until that point, I had just been reading the book as you would normally read it, and that one just like I had to go back and start over again, because my reaction to it is, there's something I'm missing here. What am I missing here? So, Ryan, let's go down to you. So tell us hints, clues. What are they? How do you differentiate? How many are there, and where do you find them?
Well, watching all these videos about Forrest, all these years of all his interviews, I think he hasn't deviated from, you need to have that poem. The poem could get you there, and the book will help. So that's where I've stuck with. I mean, I've looked in Too Far to Walk. I've read it probably twice. And I think it's a really neat insight into Forrest's past, but I really am sticking with the poem, the 9 clues in the poem, and the book is there to help aid you along to help decipher the clues in the poem. And like I said, it helps aid you in rewiring your brain to think like Forrest to decipher those clues. I don't think it's anything more than that, So not like they're going to say he's like always secretly on that Gardner Island in Gardner Lake in Montana.
Yeah, we
Trust
did
me,
that.
I've lived there too.
We did that. So let's ask the room. So in your next chat line, everybody in the room, make a little note about what you think the number of clues are, the number of hints are, and which of the 3 books, Too Far to Walk, Thrill of the Chase, Too Far to Walk, or Once Upon a While, one or more of them, which you rely on for your research, primary research. Okay, so just put that in the room, put that in your next comment, and let's see what the room thinks. Shelley, your hand is up.
Okay. Well, we just got another super chat.
Oh, how nice.
From Where's Bobby? It doesn't have any question yet, so we'll be on the lookout for that.
Okay.
But we do have other questions. Let's see. Deborah Jensen.
So let's go through all your questions before I switch gears, okay?
All right. Deborah Jensen is asking the panel, what are your thoughts on maybe rearranging the lines in the poem in some way to abstract clues, since Forrest Fenn has said the words took a long time to place them? Should you rearrange the lines in the poem in some way?
Pam, what do you think?
I say no, because I think Forrest Fenn has said not to mess with his poem.
Agreed. Rick, what do you think?
Well, I don't think you have to rearrange them, but the poem does read in like past tense, present tense, and I think you got to kind of keep that in mind, like when you're doing the poem and you're going through it. I think that when you reach one point, there's something else that you've already read that in the poem that is telling you what to look for when you get to that point.
All right, Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't. Forrest said, "Don't mess with the poem." I'd stick with that.
Yeah.
It's he said it's straightforward. Don't mess with my poem,
Yeah.
and I've listened to that.
Jason, what do you think?
Well, in keeping with being a poem purist, yeah, I definitely would say I wouldn't look at it that way. But again, I don't hold it against anyone who would. I think it goes to all of us. If there's somebody willing to, use software and parse it out and look for the relationship between letters in the poem and letters in the book, hey, more power to you. The truth is, it did take a long time for him to write this poem. And I think there could be a lot of very reasonable explanations. It could be that it was built like an architect, piece by piece, so that it could be turned into a puzzle type solve. But there wasn't anything that I got in the book, in his memoirs, that suggested that he was really puzzly in that way.
Yeah.
He's a complex guy in the way a Renaissance man is a complex guy, and that guy is not going to be talking about Fibonacci sequences
Right.
and cipher codes. Again, nothing against those that are looking in that direction. You may walk out of the woods with your treasure, but I feel like he is a good old boy. He's a Chuck Yeager. He's a fighter pilot. He's homegrown. He's all American. He's self-made, and that guy isn't the bean counter detailed cipher guy.
Yeah.
In my
Yeah.
mind. In my mind.
Okay, so let me tell you, when I first got into this, being the bean counting cipher guy, I tore that poem apart every way from Sunday, and tried to reassemble it. And the only thing I did was move further and further away from the possibility that I was going to find that treasure. So over time, I've come back to the simplicity of the poem, and then, of course, because I'm running a YouTube channel that wants to do new and creative content, I explore a lot of other areas. But like most people, I rely on the poem and the book, and our Forrest Fenn died in December of 2010 rule. So I don't think I'm as extreme about my solutions based on the poem as a lot of people think I am, including apparently my son. Paleolithic. We're going back to the Rio Chama, buddy. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, Shelley, give us another question from the room.
All right, I have to do another super chat.
Wow, what's going on tonight?
Yeah, and he didn't have a question, but he just gave us another 20.
Well, thank you, John. Was that his second one tonight?
Yeah.
Whoa, John Bobbitt.
Right.
Is he single?
You must have got a bonus this week.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Well, I shared in the room that we share our proceeds from panel night super chat
with the
our
panel members.
So
Yeah.
everybody decided
So
that
thank you
they
guys
jumped
for
in
that.
on it.
Yeah.
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 We have a question from Danny AG for Ryan. And he says, I believe that the treasure is in Wyoming. Have you looked near the Tetons?
No, I haven't looked in the Tetons. I have fished in that lake, and that's a beautiful fishing area. No, I've stayed away from the Wyoming and the Teton National Park areas. I don't think it's in one of those areas. There are so many people that go through there. The traffic, the amount of people that go, and you go off of trail out there. That is deep wilderness. And I've gone out there. Me and my oldest boy, we went into the Ojo Caliente trail area, and we went into that hot spring into the Firehole River, and we kind of waded around in that area where Forrest talked about bathing. And we've been out to West Yellowstone areas and stuff, but I've never really focused my hunts out there. Granted, I have done a lot of research in those areas, but nothing's ever really sparked my interest. And actually going out there and seeing the amount of visitors and people that are traveling out there, and for him to go out to that hiding spot twice and no one's by his car when he comes back, and he laughs out loud and says, "Forrest, you really do that?" I can't imagine.
It's going to be in that area. Yeah.
Yeah, really, and in the legality part of messing with the national parks, forget
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. So I'm gonna Popo Aggie you, Ryan.
Popo.
Yeah, and so the next time, yeah, you come to New Mexico, or you go to Yellowstone, it's Ojo Caliente.
Oh, all right, all
Ojo.
right.
Soft J.
Yeah. When
All
we
right,
were
yeah.
when we went up to Lander, we had listened to Fenn say Popo Aggie a dozen different times, and I walked into some restaurant, and
Yeah.
because Shelley will tell you, we always ask questions. You know, what do you think of the Popo Aggie River? And the woman literally stopped and turned and looked at me like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're not from around here, are you?" You
Yeah.
know, she didn't even have to say it. So. I thought I saw a question for the panel. Shelley, did you pick up on that one? Maybe it's further down. Where are you
Number
in?
of times the boots on the ground.
I have a question for Ryan and Rick.
Okay, let's do Ryan. Let's do Ryan and Rick first.
This is from Fenn Treasure Hunter, and he says, do you think searchers are reading too much into the poem?
Go ahead, Ryan. Do you
Okay,
think searchers are reading too much into the poem?
Well, I don't really know how you could read too much into the poem. I mean, that's our treasure map. That's the clues that's going to lead you to that. Maybe you're maybe reading into too much of lines in the poem that are not pertinent, to the hunt. But I mean, for myself, a lot of them are important. And I know Forrest said don't discount any word in his poem. So I don't think so. I mean, that poem is key for us to find that treasure. So yeah, read into it, research it.
Rick, searchers.
Well, I think the poem's the most important part. I don't know if reading too much into the poem is actually
a bad thing.
Doesn't sound right. I mean,
Yeah.
well, it doesn't sound right. I think people are reading too much into Forrest's comments and his stories and stuff like that. I think they're just digging too much in, looking for clues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pam, what do you think? Reading too much into the poem a bad thing or a good thing?
It depends on what you're doing with it. I think if you tear it apart too much,
it can get messy.
Yeah.
Jason, what do you think?
I'm back to the basics. I think, but again, I don't think it hurts. I think it's actually kind of fun for the community to see the lengths that people go to. But every time I start to kind of say like, well, I wonder if he's got something there, I say, this time and energy is being taken away from the basic pieces that Forrest gave us.
Mm-hmm.
Are they not clear? No, they're not clear. Otherwise, how are a million people going to be stuck chasing something for this long, right? It's not supposed to be perfectly clear, but they're there. I think they're there just as we need them. We just need to be the one that figures it out.
Yeah. Shelley,
I'll tell you what, I've
Go ahead.
felt for a long time, whoever does find it, I know, there's factors with anonymity and stuff like that. But if they don't at least relate how the clues related to their final solve, I'm going to be ticked off.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel cheated.
Yeah. So, Shelley, let's take a little break here and let's talk about two things. I'm going to let you do this. Number one, what's going on with the Gypsy's Kiss the rest of the week? And number two, because it's down in the description box below, why don't you talk a few minutes about our May 9th event?
Okay. One more time, we have Super Chat.
Wow.
From Scott Free Analytics, $11.12.
Wow.
Which is an odd number. And it says, it's cold in here. Can we turn up the heat a bit? I don't know what that means, but perhaps the $11 will go for the heating bill. Anyway, tonight, of course, we're having our wonderful panel. Tomorrow at 1:00, we have book club. We'll be talking about chapter 10, In Love with Yellowstone. Friday, we'll have just the facts, and we'll have a new question that Toby will have to answer. Sunday, we'll put out a new lineup video. And of course, this weekend, Kevin and I and Toby will all be traveling up to northern New Mexico for another search. Anything else you want to know?
Yes. Tell us about the May 9th event.
Oh, the May 9th event. May 9th is going to be our fantastic fan appreciation event. And for those of you who are interested in getting to know each other a little bit better, we're going to be doing a similar show to what you see tonight, where we have yours picture on the screen as you introduce yourself. You get 60 seconds to talk about yourself and your search, and then you get to meet everybody who shows up that night. And we're looking at about 20 people so far. There's still room to sign up. We have a video out that tells you how and where to sign up. And just look for the May 9th Fan Appreciation Event video, and that will tell you all the details that you need to know to get signed up for that.
Yeah, what our objective is, we would like to fill a room. Now, this tool that we use on the panel on Wednesday nights is called Zoom.us, and in our particular subscription, we can support up to 100 concurrent users. So what we'd like everybody to do is sign up for that night and see how many Fenn searchers we can get on as users, and literally fill my screen with everybody, and then we'll just go down the line and have everybody introduce themselves, tell us a little about their search strategy, where they're coming from, and anything else they want to share with the other X number of members in the room. And like Shelley said, we're up to 20, which is okay, which I think it's a good start. But we're looking forward to as much as we possibly can, filling that room with Fenn searchers. So there's a video I've listed in the description box below, and if you click on that, it's a video that explains exactly how you can participate and what kind of things you need to be able to do that. You can literally do it with your smartphone and the headset that came with your smartphone. So, Shelley, did you have any more questions from the room, please?
Well, I have another super chat.
Wow.
And Coach would like to know, what is a good trout lure?
Oh, that, you know what, Coach? I'm gonna give everybody who wants to answer that question a shot to answer it. But yeah, raise your hand so everybody can answer it. But you're asking a question that we could have a panel on that would last 3 hours. Because there's so much dependent. Jason, what's your favorite? Let's do it this way. What's your favorite trout fishing lure?
Well, I'll tell you what I use. And
Okay.
it's what I grew up fishing on, and that's salmon eggs on the Pecos River.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, Ryan, what's
And
your
they got me
favorite?
rainbows and browns.
Yeah, Ryan.
I remember when I was younger, I started using Cast Masters.
Yeah.
And those were great. MEP spinners have worked really good for me. And then this, I don't know the name brand, but it's like this, it looks like a clip, like a money clip kind of thing with a hook on it.
Yeah.
I got that up in the Black Hills, and we used that down in Ring Lake out by Du Bois here last year. Man, we cleaned house with that.
I know exactly. I don't even know what the name is, but I know which one you're talking about.
I don't know. Lost both of them.
Rick, what's your favorite trout fishing lure?
Well, I really don't have a favorite trout fishing lure. I'm more of a bass fisherman.
Oh,
but
okay.
I have caught trout on rooster tails, and that's usually the lures that I have with me.
Rooster tails are very reliable in a number of situations, both in streams and in still waters. Pam, you've got one? Have you got one? Not
No
a fisher
experience.
person? Okay. Shelley?
Just whatever you put on the line, dude.
Hot dogs.
All right.
Nice.
So right now, so I go through phases, and right now I'm going through the Euro nymphing phase. And so I'm using a lot of little tiny 18, size 18 Euro nymphs that have very strange names. But they're wet flies. They don't float on top of the water. They sink down into the water. So
Yeah,
and
and
those
it's tough to have a conversation in public with him because he's going on about these wet French nymphs.
yeah, French
It's like,
nymphs.
oh boy!
Yeah.
All right, Dad.
Yeah. So good question though, Coach. Thanks. That was a lot of fun. We'll have to do more of those. Okay, I've got 2 minutes left, so let's go around the horn. Everybody remind the chat room where they can find you online and anything that's coming up for you in terms of travels or new online products. Pam, let's start with you.
I'm Ramblin' Pam on YouTube.
Thanks. You got any new stuff coming out?
No, not right now.
Oh, all right. Rick?
I'm Illinois Ghost, and I run the Ghost Adventures blog, and be sure to check it out. I got a lot of stuff happening on there with Forrest here lately.
You've got
I
those
got
new. You've
yeah.
got the 6 questions that you did recently, and now you've got this new page for forced words, right?
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
the what's the words, which Forrest is going to start sending me one word. He said once in a while is how he said it. He said once in a while I'll send you one word. So,
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
and it's because he's got he talks so, Terry Scant.
Right.
Who you that? That's a different era of time,
Right. Yeah.
But that's IllinoisGhost.wordpress.com.
So I know you've been active with your YouTube channel since you kind of re-energized it. What are you going to keep going with that as well?
Yeah, I am. Actually, I'm starting to get a little more comfortable with being in front of the camera and stuff on there. At first, everybody, you worry about your voice, you worry about, everything. And it's like, it's stiff as a board. So,
Yeah. 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 Just watch us. A lot of hand movement.
yeah, well, this helps too. I mean, and this is helping a lot. So.
Yeah, that's the idea. Get comfortable. Jason?
Rick, first off, you're producing some good quality content, and it's different. There's a reason why it should be out there. So don't worry about that. When my dad was first training me for public speaking, he said when you walk into a room, there's going to be 10% that hate you and 10% that love you on sight before you've even spoken. And that has really helped me over the years, because I'll tell you, I just don't care. I don't care about the ones that want to poke fun, because here's the thing. You're the guy that's out there. You're the guy that's sharing the information, and what you're doing is right on. So don't let any of that pull against you.
Nice. Appreciate that.
I don't have any content out there that's specific to the chase. To be honest, it would just be a repetitive for what Dad's doing with his channel and everything. But as a metalsmith, my site is newmexicotinwork.com.
And don't you have an Etsy store as well?
I do. The Etsy store is called Tintero, all one word, Tintero on Etsy.
So while we were doing this, your sister was asking if we could get together for lunch on Friday. So let me work something out, and maybe she'll join me to go visit you and Shush.
Okay.
Ryan, let's go to you.
Yeah, my name's Ryan Chapelier. I got a YouTube channel called Exarban. Got a lot of different hunts planned this year. Hopefully you just got one, and then we'll be done with it. But anyways, the things in the future, I got some, new books to share with you. I got some Forrest Fenn private collection books too. I'll have to share with you.
Oh, nice! Wow.
Joseph Henry Sharp etchings in them and stuff. So, anyways, some unique books there. Actually, I've been in talking with your daughter when you brought that up, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought one of her paintings. Well, I'm waiting for an invoice from that. I don't like prints. I like originals.
Yeah.
So she one of them I like. So I've been kind of Facebooking with her about that.
That's
so,
very kind of you.
Yeah,
Thank you very
I'm
much.
looking forward to it. So it'll be back here. I'll
We look forward
Yeah,
to seeing that. Yeah,
right?
She does great work,
So-
whether she does the Spanish colonial retablos
Yeah.
or her Dia de los Muertos work. She's a very talented young woman.
Yeah, I've really liked the Day of the Dead
Yeah.
stuff that she's done.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say to the search community, have fun with your searches out there. Be safe. One thing that we always try to do when we're hunting is there's trash out there in the forest. But, like this hubcap over an old Ford pickup truck right behind me, we found that in Cook City out in the mountains out there. And that's our little souvenir. So we use that for target
Hey,
practice.
it's a piece of art now.
We have so many things. I could go on about the Kerwin area. I know so much about that from all the research. And I got this great little display I put up for my kid out there. He's got a stuffed jackalope, and we get a lot of people, from being in the city, there's a lot of people that don't get out much, and we get them going pretty good in the jackalope. So
I'm gonna tell something about the chat room. When I was setting up Ryan, we had a conversation earlier today when I was setting it up, and he said, "Listen, sometimes I start talking, and it's really hard for me to stop. So make sure if you have to, just go ahead and interrupt me, because otherwise we're not going to get through the night." So Ryan, thanks.
yeah.
Shelley.
I just wanted to let everybody know, if you had a question that didn't get answered this evening, I'm going to take those questions and copy them, send them to Toby, and he will be answering them in the comments below the video once it's processed. Yeah. And there is a question that I did want to get out there, because some of you have contact with Forrest Fenn. He wants to know, does anybody know if Peggy's doing better in her health?
I think the only one of us that would probably know that is Rick. Do you have any idea, Rick?
You know, I've
Haven't asked.
emailed Forrest late. I've emailed him lately, and you know, it slipped my mind. I never even asked. I
Yeah.
probably should have.
Yeah, if there's anybody that would have the contact on this particular panel, I think it would be Rick. Okay, all right. So first of all, I'd like to thank our guest, Ryan Chapelier. Now, I don't know if you guys have watched this in the past, but every time someone becomes a guest on their show, we invite them back as panelists. So you will see Ryan again as a panelist asking questions of some of our future guests. So we're glad to have him on tonight. He did great. And our other panel members, Pam and Rick and Jason and Shelley is our producer. They do a great job. We appreciate you guys being in the chat room, listening to us and participating in this conversation. We hope you find it educational, informative, and sometimes even entertaining. We're going to lay that entertainment part on Jason because he's got that kind of sense of humor. So. But we thank you for, no pressure. So we thank you, panelists. Thank you for joining us tonight. Ryan, thank you for being our guest tonight. Shelley, thank you for being a great producer tonight. And chat room, thanks for joining us tonight. We will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time on the Forrest Fenn Memoirs Book Club, when we'll be covering Chapter 10. Shelley, Chapter 10.
In Love with Yellowstone.
In Love with Yellowstone. All right. Thanks, guys, and have a good night.